Hickok 45 with another 45. This one happens to be a Colt new service. No surprise, huh? Let's shoot it. You want to? How about a 2 liter? See if it works. I think it does. How about a stop sign? Oh man, dead center. Must have been luck. How about a pot? How about a can? How about a target? How many is that? That's 5 or 6. Boom. Did he fire 5? Yeah, he did. That was 6. Yes. Oh yes, Colt revolver. Something a little odd about this one, isn't there? You know, I have a kind of a fetish for Colt new service revolvers, big frame revolvers in big calibers. I just have a problem, and I have some others on the table. That pretty much shows and demonstrates that, doesn't it? This one's a little different. The new service revolver, Colt new service. It is, what's the difference? You tell me. Look at all those. Now one of those is a Smith, but kind of the same thing. So one of them has, there may be other differences, but one of these revolvers on the table has a longer barrel. Yeah, even my relatives in Kentucky can tell that has a longer barrel, 7.5 inch. Okay, so I did not have a 7.5 inch new service revolver. What was wrong with me? Now I do. Isn't that a good enough reason to buy one? I think it is. Let's shoot it again. So now we'll try some hand loads. I like to shoot both here in 45 Colt. Why don't we just christen the gong? I don't think this firearm has ever hit the gong because I've not shot it much. Not shot it much at all. I've not had it long. All right, let's bring it up a little. I think I might have been going low. Bring it up some more. I'm getting a weird sound. I'm gonna bring it down. There we go. All right, thought I was going high, but I was going, or low, but I was going high. Yeah, must have been high as well. I think I'm empty. Yeah, we'll figure it out together. How's that? Okay. Got a nice, fine front sight. Oh boy. Like I said, I just have not fired it much at all. It's really primo. So you don't find many Colt new service revolvers in this kind of shape with original finish. And I just couldn't come home without it. It was at the Tennessee Military Collectors Association gun show or show in Franklin. 3 weeks ago, whenever that was, and oh boy, just caught my eye. Just a beautiful revolver. I have had, you know, I have these. Here's the first one. Wow, that is a beautiful finish as well, doesn't it? Yeah, it's called No Finish. I have the 1909 model is used in adopted by the military. These are all 45 Colt. And this one down here, I'll skip, 1919, I think, that was used by the Royal Canadian Northwest Mounted Police, 45 Colt. Not bad, but you know, a little bit rough here and there. And you know, this one is almost like off the line if I shine it up there and clean it up. So don't see many like that. And I just, I guess it's proof, because I had to pay more than I did for the others. It's proof that I am a gun addict, and I can't help it. And I'm also addicted to the new service revolvers. They're really cool. They're a category, maybe, especially if you've not seen our videos on any of these. What's wrong with you? We have several, and I'll maybe a link to a couple of them or 3, okay, in the description or in a pinned comment. But I don't know if you were aware that up to or through World War II, okay, so the mid-1940s, there were actually more of these made, these new service big Colts made than Colt single actions by that time, okay? So, you know, they were very popular. They were used in the military. They were converted to ACP. So I've got these here. Now this is a Smith version of it. I brought it out, but it's not a Colt. It's a Smith, but it's very much like it. And they use the half moon clips that were used in World War I, World War II, and so extensively, and then after the war in surplus, so people carried them. And in the 45 Colt, they were made in a lot of different calibers. I've talked about this in some other videos. They came out in 1898. I remember it quite well. This one was made in 1907, and they were introduced in, gosh, 45 Colt, 3840, 4440, 44 Russian, 44 Special, 45 Colt, at least, and then also in some of the British cartridges, the 455, Webley, and 450 Boxer, and some others. It's just popular and in demand around the world, especially during World War I and II, I guess. But the British bought a lot of them from us, and Colt made them in the caliber they wanted of their choosing, right? And so they're quite popular and well liked. You see them in a lot of movies. I've talked about that. Maybe, Brad Pitt in Fury is carrying the Smith version of it, and let's see, Harrison Ford has one. I don't know whether he has the Colt or the Smith. I think the Colt maybe in the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Batman, as I understand, the Joker, I think it's Jack Nicholson, that version, he had one, and then lots of them in the movies, and a lot of movies you've never heard of course. So they showed up a great deal. They were considered by most collectors to be one of the finest revolvers ever made. They really are. It was, because they came along, the turn of the century, the technology, Industrial Revolution, and back when Colt was Colt, and gun makers were gun makers, Winchester was Winchester, Marlin was Marlin, and Colt was Colt, and they knew what they were doing. Lots of master gunsmiths, I guess, on board. And I mean, this one, I don't know if you noticed, look at, normally, well, most of them are fine, of any revolvers, fine revolvers, but when you close this thing up, look how tight that, you almost don't see the seam. I mean, they're just pieces of art, okay? They're pieces of art. I know the anti-gunners would like to hear me say that with the right one. This one was made, thought I lost my train of thought, didn't you? It was made in 1912, okay? Fortunately, it survived the Titanic sinking. Nobody had it on board ship and all that, and here it is in my hand. 1912, and look at that finish. Wow, pretty nice. They started out with this kind of grip. They call it black. It's kind of, I don't know, kind of almost a greenish tint to it, but then they went to wood later on. Then the military versions, they went to wood, and different versions of that. This is an early one, of course, typical. Right here, this is the one that belonged to my dad. Everything, I've told that story in probably the first new service video we did, maybe even chapter 2, might have repeated it, how he was remodeling a bank and they found it behind a vault they moved out, and some things. So in 1907, might have been falling behind that safe, who knows, 1910, 1940, you just don't know. So much history with these things. Can I shoot it again? I'm a fan of the 45, of course, hence the name, Hickok 45. And, the Colt single action is one of my very favorites of all time. These, I think these are as well. I confess, I got it bad. They're just nice, big old revolvers. This one I probably shouldn't shoot extensively. If I'm in the mood to shoot a new service revolver, I should probably grab one of the others most often. But I'm a little foolish, if you haven't noticed, and I shoot these things anyway. And it's funny when I buy something like this. I mean, people say, man, that thing will be, 10 years or 20. It's just going to really appreciate, just take good care of it. And you say, well, I will, but I'm going to fire it. Sometimes they look at me askance. You're going to fire it? Yeah. That's what guns are for. They're made to shoot. So even though this is not going to be my main shooter or carry gun, it might be, I'd just like to know where I'm holding wrong on that gong. So I'm going to try to hit it. Y'all don't mind me. Just talk amongst yourselves while I work this out. I'm going to hold right on the bottom of it. Okay. Maybe holding right on the bottom is where I need to hold. I thought that's where I was holding that time. Okay, let me come down a little bit. Well, I think I'm shooting blanks. I got one more. Okay, oh well. I'm switching back and forth on my ammo too. It's messing me up. What I need to do is shoot up close and kind of get a better idea. Let's put some more of the Federal in. And let me shoot a couple things up here closer. Yeah, we got a deer walking across the range down there, so we'll be careful not to hit her. I think it's a her because her little baby was with her. We saw her this morning. She's moved on through. All right, let me hold right on, maybe this will be instructional. I'm gonna hold right in the middle of that tombstone right there. Okay. Seems almost right on. Let me take one at the buffalo. Oh, I saw that hit high. Okay. I saw that hit high too. Okay. Got two with it. Made up. That's the answer. That's the answer. It's funny. Most handguns. Y'all see me do this Sunday videos. I have to figure out where to hold it. We figured it out together. Happens every now and then. Because I was holding right in the middle of the stop sign, right in the middle, at least elevation wise. You know, on the tombstone there, kind of hitting in the middle. But I don't know. We get out there further at 80 yards. I don't know, it's just picking up a little elevation on me. Okay, so it's good. Hope I didn't bore you all with figuring out where to hold this thing, but that is something we all have to go through, figuring out your sights. And of course, with this, you notice I'm not saying, well, let's see, I'm not sure how to adjust the sights on this one. Well, you can't adjust the sights on this one, as you can tell. So you have to figure out where to hold the firearm. I don't see any problems with windage, even though it looks like it on that tombstone. That was me, I think. All right, now that I've figured out a little bit more about it, let me try that gong again. Okay. Okay, got to hold low, about, I don't know, 6 inches below the bottom of it. All right, now y'all will know, if you're ever shooting this firearm, you'll know where to hold at 80 yards. I figured it out for you. Maybe it took 5 minutes out of the video, but I figured it out for you. So I'm not gonna go through the history. I've done this in several again, but just briefly, you know, the new Army in 38 long Colt was what the military was using as their handgun, adopted handgun, you know, after the 45, you know, Colt single action Army adopted this in what, 1892, I think, and up through the early 1900s. And then it went to this in, well, yeah, this 1909, because they were having trouble with that 38 caliber cartridge. And it's kind of a weak cartridge, really, the long Colt long Colt's called, yeah, 38 long Colt. Kind of weak, really, in a lot of ways, and I want to be hit by one, but, you know, still kind of weak. So they wanted to go back to 45, and they were scrambling for 45s, and John Browning was just taking his time on the 1911. I don't know what he was doing, too much coffee or something. He just was taking too many naps. It just wasn't ready yet. But so this was actually adopted, like I said, the 1909 military gun, yeah, U.S. Army, model 1909, and it was in 45 Colt. So again, we went back to 45 Colt for the military pistol. Can you believe that? Sure did. Double action. again, it's a new service revolver. They had made a few improvements in it, and I think in that same year there were some leaf springs. They went to coil springs, and they put a kind of a hammer block where if you dropped it, it wasn't going to go off. This one doesn't really have that hammer block. I still load 6 generally. It's not like a Colt single action where it's pressing against the primer with just a little bit of pressure. It doesn't. But I think if the sear breaks, it doesn't have as good a block. Okay, and so a few improvements, and that was for a couple of years. That was the military pistol, and then of course we had Mr. 1911 come along, right? And what year was that? I think it was 1911. And then we didn't have enough of those, of course, for World War I when we entered, and so Smith & Wesson and Colt modified a new service revolver to take these clips. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you haven't seen any of the videos we've done with them, but you just pop them in there. Wait a minute, do I have the right one? Yeah, sometimes I pick up the wrong firearm for some reason. That one doesn't want to go. It might be that. I don't know, let's try the other one. This is the 45 ACP. Yeah, there we go. Okay, a little tight. I don't know what that was. Maybe the clip got sprung. Oh, I see what it is. I think I don't have it. Yeah, it wasn't clipped all the way in there. Clicked all the way in. And sometimes, yeah, now it goes in just fine. Okay. Reality TV, don't you hate it? But so, yeah, there you go. You're ready to shoot. So that was a lot handier during World War I, World War II, and for the military. And Smith, you know, made the same thing. They're the ones who came up with the clips like this. So, you know, World War I, World War II, great. And then this again was back to 45 Colt. The Canadians, you know, adopted these. They use them. They're using in lots of places, you know, around the world, and in this country, civilians, lawmen, just everybody, soldiers. They're just great pistols and big old pistols, right? Can I load it again? Now I figure out where to hold, I'll change ammo again. How's that? Yeah, if you're missing the Sunday shoot around videos every Sunday morning, you know, it's a current thing. I do that, you know, a day or two before sometimes, just depends, but it's that week, and just bring out some guns I want to shoot. Maybe something we're testing or just something I haven't shot for a while. And so it is by nature something I maybe haven't shot for a while. I'm in the mood to shoot it, so I bring it out in the Sunday morning videos. And because of that, sometimes I forget where to hold with it, and y'all help me as I'm figuring it out, and then we get it figured out every Sunday. All right, that's the fun of shooting. Relearning everything you were supposed to have known already. Yeah, how'd I miss the cowboy? Let's hit a 2-liter that needs to be hit. Well, okay, that's all me. I have to watch it, or I kind of torque it a little bit. Here's one hasn't been hit. Boom. Unless it does print, I think that's me, a little to the right, but I don't think it does. Let me try it one more time on something that hadn't been shot too much. Look at those bullets, aren't they pretty going in there? Big old 45s. Doesn't get much better than that. 45 Colt. Yeah, 45 Colt. Really wonderful old revolvers. Like I said, I do have one oddball on the table. That's the Smith & Wesson. It is not a Colt new service. It's just that it's they're in frame, and it's, you know, they're their first big bore double action, you know, revolver like that. So I always consider it and the Colt version of the 1917 as a pair. All right, let's be really careful and make sure we get a good trigger break, and see if I can put one right there where that other one is on the stop sign. This is kind of stuff I do too on the range by myself. Just trying to figure out where to hold. Okay, now those last two were right in line windage wise. Yeah, okay, so I think that's it. I'm gonna hit the middle of that one. Yeah, okay. It's just if I don't focus for whatever reason, the grip contour, you know, it does have kind of small grips for me. You know, some handguns, you want to pull them left, and there are some that if you're not careful, you kind of torque them a hair to the right as you break the trigger. That's what I'm doing. That might account for some of the misses on the gong, because maybe, you know, you're trying to get the right elevation, and you're assuming you're always getting a good break, and you're breaking the trigger when you're at whatever elevation you think you're at. Well, that can make it more confusing, because actually maybe one time I was holding in the right place elevation wise, but I torqued the trigger a little bit. Yeah, that's why shooting handguns is so much fun. It's not easy. It's like shooting a basketball. You know, you could be really good with a basketball. I'm looking at the goal over there. And yeah, really good, but you go out some days and, you know, you just oh, I shot 5, and you miss. You know, you can't, you're just not on target, or you're doing some little thing that's affecting you. Okay, let's shoot some. Yeah, I didn't shoot that one. I just shot 5. I guess it wasn't like a bad primer or anything. Let's shoot some more Federal. Okay, now I'll let you go a little bit. And I know I dragged all those other guns out, but a lot of people, you know, believe it or not, they've not seen every video. They're working on it. They're going to get back and see them all. But these are some special firearms, really special. Most of you talk about, even if you don't have a revolver, a lot of them you find them interesting, fascinating, just like lever guns and that kind of thing, and have it on your to-do list, your bucket list. And these, believe it, they are just some of the finest ones. They really are, and they feel great, fun to shoot. 45 Colt or any of the other chamberings for these, they're not like 44 Magnum. They don't just knock you around a whole lot, but just enjoyable to shoot. 45 Colt or ACP, lots of fun. All right, so it looks like I'm not going to be a marksman with this thing, but let's try the 2 liters that are still standing. I'll see if I can avoid messing with that trigger and get a good break. All right, as long as the trigger breaks when you're right on the target, you're good. Oh, what we haven't done yet is double action, okay? A lot of you get mad at me, or some, few rather, when I don't shoot a double action in double action, okay? So let's do that. How's that? Are you happy? Double action. Okay, if you got a double action, you want to shoot a double action sometimes. So anyway, I really like this, and I realized, again, I have to watch it shoot it. I'm sorry to embarrass myself in front of all of you, but I sort of figured it out, where to hold elevation-wise, and that I also have a tendency to, you know, again, torque it to the right if I'm not careful. And, you know, the longer barrel guns, especially like this, where the elevation is pretty clear, I shouldn't have a lot of trouble shooting this. I know with the Colt single actions I don't. The longer barrel, which just is the same 7.5 inch barrel, are just easier to shoot well generally. So that may be part of it. I was a little overconfident. So Colt new service, you know, came in a lot of chamberings, a lot of history, and was in a lot of ways the premier revolver during that time period. If you wanted something in large caliber, just really nice. Now, not to diss the Smith & Wessons, they had some great firearms, of course, in 44s. They got into the double action, but these old Colts were hard to beat. They really are, and I'm really happy to have one in 7.5 inches, especially in this condition. This will be a prize revolver, and I shall always cherish it and treat it lovingly, keep it really clean, and make sure I give it lots of attention by bringing it out and firing it occasionally. Okay, so we might even invite you all along. Life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com. And also, while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here. Also, while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter, The Real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.